Okay, let's try this one more time. I think we might be onto something now. I'm Dre Pearson. If you don't already know me, I'm a holistic health and women's empowerment coach. And Stefanie Caley is going to be joining me today, talking about self-care for women. Oh, there it is. It worked. So we're going to talk about self-care for busy women and moms, which is a topic I'm passionate about. Stephanie and I both are passionate about this one. So as soon as Facebook adds her, we'll be talking about that. Stephanie,
Yay!
awesome. So Stephanie's also a women's empowerment coach. She coaches on self-love and self-esteem mainly.
Sorry,
So
guys.
hello.
Hi. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
oh,
How are you?
awesome. There, it works better. I probably actually should have mentioned that it might work better on phone. So, but we worked it out.
That's okay. We got it
Okay, let me
together.
see. Can you hear me okay now? Can you still hear me? I don't know if I can hear you. So let me. Oh, here we go. There we go.
Well, at least we gave everyone plenty of time to hop on, right?
Oh yeah. Okay, so Stephanie, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got started in coaching in the online space?
Yeah, so I worked as a physician assistant and have been doing that for about 5 years now. I originally started that because I love helping people and I wanted to serve people, and I found that it just wasn't filling my spirit at all. And I don't believe in medicine as much as I thought I did. So I started to really dig deep on, what is it that would fulfill me as well as helping everyone that I can possibly help. And my biggest passion is, of course, women and moms. So I started looking into coaching, and I found an amazing business coach, and she's almost turned into a life coach as well. And I did do some life coaching before becoming a coach myself, just to know that I was really on the right path. And I loved being coached, and I decided, you know what, this is absolutely aligned with what my soul and my heart desire, and I get to help people in the way that I love them most. So that's where it all started, and that was a couple of years ago now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you in WBA? Do you know what that is?
No,
Oh, okay.
I've
I didn't
heard of
know if
it,
I
but
met
no.
you. I didn't know if I met you there or not. I know we've been connected for a long time though, but I just didn't know exactly if that
Yeah.
was where or not. Um, so then I don't know. How has being a mom and coaching in the online space, how have you managed all of that?
Oh my goodness, you guys. As you can see, it's a handful. Um, so I started coaching before I was a mom, and I thought I was busy then, but it just gets crazier when you have a little one. So it's really about time management, and then, of course, improvisation when they wake up when you're supposed to be in a meeting. um,
Totally.
so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
so
we kind
uh,
of just make it happen.
yeah, you do. I mean, you find a
Yeah.
way, and what really happens is you tend to draw in the people who are meant to be working with you because they understand being a mom themselves, or they're okay with it. It's a part of my life, it's who I am. So, so it all fits in, it all works out.
Yeah, totally. And then self-care comes into this also, because we are super, super, super busy,
Yes.
all the time. And then when you add a family life into the, start business startup, really, because we're in startup mode all the time. And so,
Right.
so why don't we talk about self-care? Like maybe how do you work self-care into your routine?
Well, yeah, before I was a mom, I was still busy, and so, but self care was a little easier. I could very easily, at the end of a work day or what have you, go on a walk or schedule a massage or what have you. But now that I'm a mom, those things are a little harder to come by. but I still find time. So I'm lucky. My husband, he gives me breaks when he comes home. So I have that me time to kind of rejuvenate and reconnect. And I get time to go out with my girlfriends and things like that. I think it's really just about, making yourself a priority, making sure that your husband or whoever is in your household knows that, hey, you need time too. Just because you're at home with a kid, for example, doesn't mean that you're getting to relax, or getting to
Right.
focus on yourself. So it's super important that as women, especially, that we say, you know what, I'm important too. And yes, the baby or the husband or whatever is a priority in my life, but I'm number one, right? Because if we're not filling up our own cup, we cannot pour into someone else. It's just not possible. So, you really just have to make that decision in your mind first, and then you have to let everyone around you know that, hey, I'm just as important as everyone else in this household, and I need my time too. And when you're a
So
mom,
true. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
when
what I
you're
was just gonna say. Go ahead.
Oh, when you're a mom, I was going to say it gets a little harder to get out of the house. But I mean, even if you can just take a walk down the block, or what I love to do is get in the shower. I am all about just get in the shower, block out the noise, put on Pandora or whatever, and just, have that 30 minutes to myself, because I mean, it's necessary. It really is. I mean, we work way too hard these days, um, with social media and everything else always on in the
Right.
background. It's so important.
Right. And when I first started, adapting self-care, different self-care activities, it was kind of like, it was almost like the self-care was a little overwhelming because I wanted to do all the things. So it was like, okay, I'll meditate, I'll journal, I'll take a bath, all of these things. And over time, I found that they're more like little snippets in my day where, like, before I even, before my feet hit the ground, I'm doing my gratitude, so there's like that, that, even if a baby's in the other room making noise that because the baby's awake or whatever, you still have that 60 seconds or those 3 minutes maybe where you can just sort of like regroup yourself, do your gratitude, sort of prayer or whatever you want to call it, meditation. And I do that every morning because sometimes, like, I found that when I wake up, there's already a mood sort of there. So, like, I wake up and I'm sort of like either really excited about the day or I'm grumpy or you know what I mean? It's almost like you wake up with a mood. And so then
Yeah,
I like, that's my chance to kind of reset myself before I
absolutely.
let the dogs out and feed the dogs and get the bird set up and get my kids ready. You know what I mean? There's all these things that could right away take up all of our mind. Right away we could be like, okay, we got to get up, we got to do this, we got to do that. And that's how I used to always be. It was like jump up, and then I'm already almost overwhelmed by the time I'm even like, just getting out of bed or whatever. And so I think for each of us, we probably have like we adjust our routines depending on our habits and what's comfortable with us, and it's not always that overwhelming. Did you ever go through that though, where it was kind of like I have to do all the things, all of the self-care
Oh
stuff?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, when you start talking about self-care, that's exactly what people do. They get overwhelmed and they're like, I can't do all of those things. And you don't have to do all of those things. Self-care is really just about your mindset and about declaring that, some portion of your day is just for you. Even like you said, even if that's 5 minutes in the morning before you get out of bed, and take care of the dogs and the baby and everything else, that's your
Hmm.
time. And it just
Yeah,
can be that simple. And for a lot of people, breaking it up into like three very short chunks throughout the day, three five
that's how
minute
I do it.
portions throughout your day, that's,
Hmm.
I mean, that truly is enough to reground yourself, to get rid of that stress, and to kind of reset. It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be
I
an
think
hour.
we're lucky kind of because when you work from home, you can do that. Like I can schedule my day around my self-care, essentially. So I get up in the morning, so that's my thing. I do my gratitude, and then I get up and maybe I turn on my coffee and I get my sort of my stuff together, and then I do like 5 to 10 minutes of journaling, and that's like an hour or two after I wake up in the morning. And then later on in the day, usually I'll do my yoga or and meditate, sometimes both. And then at night, right before I fall asleep, I do the same thing where I do my meditation and then I do a prayer and I sort of close my day out in the same way. And so it doesn't feel like I'm spending my whole day doing self-care, because I'm just, it's just how it is. That's just my routine now. And then if I'm feeling like really overwhelmed from my business, or I've just been like going for too long, then I add in more stuff. Then I add in a massage, or I add in, a hike, or I add in, something else. Whereas, but you have to start, I think, before you start realizing what you even need for your self-care. Now that I'm here, I can go, okay, I don't really need this and I don't really need that, but this really makes me feel grounded. And, so you work it out. How do you recommend that somebody gets started with self-care if it's sort of new to them?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, for those who aren't at home all the time, and are not fortunate enough to have that option, when I was working, I would go on my lunch break into my car. I'd get in the back seat, and I got some weird looks a couple times when coworkers would be walking through the parking lot and I'd be hopping in my back seat. But I'd get in my back seat and I would turn on like a YouTube video, some kind of inspirational video, or somebody that I follow on Facebook, and just give myself something back, because it can be so draining to be at work, depending on what you do, especially. It can be so draining and tiring. And so to just have that half hour, I mean, legally in the United States, we are allowed that half hour minimum to ourselves. And so don't feel obligated to stay in the workspace or in the lunchroom. You can go to your car and create your own little serene atmosphere there, put a pillow in the back seat, a blanket, whatever. I mean, seriously, make it your own little habitat back there. That's what
I
I used to
completely
do.
agree. I actually purchased a car. Specifically, I was looking, it had to be a car that completely laid down flat in the back, because I wanted to be able to just pop my seats forward and be able to, like, exactly what you're saying. I mean, we use it also for, like, we'll just like go camping and in the middle of winter or whatever, in it also.
Yeah.
But that is so true. Your space, make it your own. Make it so that it works for you. I've always, when I was an executive assistant and office manager, in my corporate days before I did this, I did the same thing. Lunchtime was always my time. That was always when, and you wouldn't see me in my office working on payroll and trying to cram it all in. I was out of the office for that, and I usually had an hour lunch, and so I could just leave and I'd go run an errand, and then I would go for a walk afterwards, so that right before I came back to work, I was kind of, I shifted my mindset a little bit. But yeah.
But yeah, if people are just getting started, I would say, take some time and maybe make a list of things you want to try. Journaling isn't for everyone, meditation isn't for everyone, but make a list, and then over the course of maybe a week or two, try each of those different things on different days and see which ones really hit home for you, which ones actually help you relax. Because for me, I have tried journaling so many times, and occasionally it really does help. But for me, it just isn't that relaxing, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And everybody swears by it. So I do different things. I meditate more. I listen to soft music. I love classical music, so I'll just sit and listen to music with my eyes closed. I mean, I do different, and going on a walk, oh my, that is it for me. Like, if I can just get out into nature and get some sun, I'm good. I'm golden. So, I mean, it just depends. Do what works best for you, and what works best for you isn't necessarily what's going to work for everyone. So don't feel pressured to do what everybody else says works for them.
Well, and just to clarify, the journaling definitely is not, I mean, I don't do that as a relaxing thing.
Yeah.
That's more of a self-growth and
Yes.
you know, kind of digging deeper on issues and things like that. But I need it for my business. I think I adapted the habit of journaling because of the business, because I had so much stuff that I was always trying to remember and, you know, plan out and content and all of that. And so it was just became handy to have the pad of paper there or whatever, and that
Right.
just sort of turned into more, I can write whatever I want in this book. It doesn't have to be about business. It can be, so yeah, the journaling at first though, almost every one of my clients is super resistant to the journaling. but I but I
Yeah.
do feel like that's where my introspection really comes from, is the journaling. That's
Yeah.
where, like, I feel like my growth comes from. But so don't give up,
I would agree.
Stephanie.
Yes. Oh, I make lists. I make tons of lists, but yeah, I haven't gotten to
Yeah.
the point really good at the journaling
Hmm.
thing on a regular
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah, totally. So what about, okay, let me think here. Where are we at? What are different types of, because we've covered, you know, some of the self-care, but self-care can be so many different things. And I'm trying to think, maybe you can help me think of um, small things people can do. You know, like I'm thinking meditation, you know, meditation's pretty abstract to people when they've never meditated.
Mhm.
And so I
Right.
usually teach them like a back to breath, just a really simple meditation in the beginning or whatever.
Hmm.
And so, you know, when we're throwing out ideas and we're like, well, you can meditate, you can do all of this stuff. Um, if you don't already have those skills, I guess, what resources can they go to find these things from you or
Oh my
anywhere?
goodness. So, oh, that's a huge question. Well, I mean, the simplest thing is Google. I mean, if you're really just wanting some simple, quick answers, Googling is like the thing to do. But
For sure.
especially around meditation, yeah, especially around meditation, there are so many free resources for meditative type, like instructions, where they play the music and they kind of walk you through the breathing. YouTube has a bunch. I'm pretty sure. Oh gosh, just lost the name of it. What is that app called? Do you have an app that you use?
Yes.
I can't think of the app name all of a sudden.
Is it an orange, like an orange circle um,
Yeah, Headspace. Is that
headspace?
it?
I
Yeah.
think it's headspace.
Um, mm-hmm.
I have a good
There are
one.
just so many out
Palouse. If you haven't looked this up yet either, Palouse. Let me think here. Palouse Mindfulness, I believe, is what it's called. PalouseMindfulness.com, maybe. He is a
there. Okay.
man local to my area that started this website a long, long time ago. And there's two meditations on there, body scan meditations. One of them's
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes long and one of them's 30 minutes long. And it's amazing. It walks you from head to toe, and it kind of, you know, the warmth on your head, like it walks you through, like sort of like when you're a kid and your mom's helping you relax and she's doing the, now relax your head, now
Right.
relax your whatever. I used to do that when I was a kid, and so it's really similar to that, but it's really
Yeah.
grown my meditation practice because it's a
Yeah.
longer meditation, and it just, you are just so focused for that whole time on what you're doing that it's very calming, like extremely
Yeah.
calming.
And I want
So
to point
that's a good
out
one.
I want to point out too, with meditation, for the longest time, I was under the impression that meditating meant you had to completely clear your mind.
Yeah.
And so I didn't do meditation for years because of that. And you don't have to completely quiet your mind. It'd be great if you can, but you don't have to. So don't let that
Yeah,
stop you from trying it, because I had that misconception for,
for
God,
sure.
probably 10 years.
Oh, so did I. And the back to breath meditation that I'm talking about is just where you're, every time a thought comes in, then you return to your breath. So you're not,
Yes.
you're accepting of the thought. You're not trying to like stop your thoughts. You're
Right.
so it's a control, you know, it's teaching control of your mind is what that whole thing does. And so then you just go back to your breath, and concentrate on the breath for a second, clear your mind, and then when the next thought comes in, you do the same thing. And yeah, the back to breath, I actually have a back to, if anybody wants it, I have a back to breath meditation that a guided one that I've made on my business page if anyone wants it. But.
Yeah, I have on my website. I have, it's not a meditation, but it's free if you guys want to go check it out. But it's kind of a way to just renew and feel refreshed. It's 6 simple things you can do to just feel kind of almost reset yourself. And you can do it in the middle of the day or at the beginning or end of a day. But it's just nice because it makes you feel empowered, and it reminds you to just take a moment and relax, right?
Yeah. I love that.
I want to say too, self-care doesn't necessarily mean you have to be alone. You know, going out with a friend or going on a date night with your husband or your wife or what have you. I mean, those are all self-care things too. Self-care really is just about doing what fills you up, what makes you happy, and what brings you joy. So it doesn't necessarily have to be you sitting by yourself going, now what do I do?
Yeah. Well, and, you know, I'm glad you said that, because I actually, in my membership group, this week has been a week of mindfulness where we're, you know, ditching our phones and really being mindful of our family and, you know, present in each moment and stuff. And that's the feedback that I've been getting is, you know, it does fill you up to be super present even with your family. And so that is self-care. And not only is that self-care, but that's like kindness as well. You know, it's care and kindness for your family as well, which I think is all of us as moms, that's what we want. You know, we want to pay attention to our family members and our kids and whatever. And for entrepreneurs, we definitely can tend to get sucked into the social media or the work of the moment or whatever. And so I found myself, you know, my son, who's my youngest is almost 12, and he came in and he's like, Mom, and he's trying to talk to me, and I'm like, yeah, because I'm in the middle of a thought, you know, and I'm typing it out, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever, you know, and then, you know, and then you catch yourself, and you're like, wait, like, come back in here now. What now? You know, look at me in the face. Now, what did you say? Because that's being present. And I don't ever want my kids to feel like I'm not approachable with things, and that the things that they want to say to me aren't important or whatever, especially pre-teenage and stuff. That's when they really need to talk. And so, this was probably 6 weeks ago or something where I caught myself in that moment, and I was like, okay, this is not, you know, and so now I'm aware. So now when my kids enter the room while I'm working, I'm, you know, I stop and I look at them and what, you know, how are you? What are you needing? You know, because it's really easy to just be like, yeah, okay, and let them walk away and not really even have that connection. And so, so do you just have one baby?
So far, yep.
Well, you're lucky because we're about empty nesters. You know, my oldest is out of the home and getting married, and then we have 2 that are teenagers and preteens. And so, you know, you probably saw my post. I've been really having baby fever big time.
Yeah.
I have 2 of my best friends are pregnant right now. Yeah. Well, my husband and I are like, give me your kids. Let us hold your kids for a week. But yeah, so you're lucky. So eat it up. Try to just enjoy it. Enjoy the overwhelm a little bit, right? Yeah.
Right.
You know, when I had my kids, I was in college. I was a chemistry major, and I'd been in college for years, 6 years. When I got pregnant with my first one, and I was always going to be the career woman, and that was what and then when I had my first one and decided I did put her in childcare for like a month, and then I decided I didn't want to do that, and I pulled her out, and to be completely honest, I probably spent a year and a half, maybe even a couple years being somewhat resentful of staying home because that wasn't in my plan. And and hubby was making more money than I was, so it made sense for me to stay home. I went through that whole thing. And then one day I woke up, like, middle of the day, but I woke up and was like, Dre, you're wasting all this time with your kids. That is,
Yeah.
you don't have to be angry about this. You don't have to be like, bummed out that you're missing out on the corporate life or whatever. And so then what happened? I got my corporate job and was like, this sucks. I don't I don't want to do this. And so then I totally shifted gears anyway and became a stay-at-home parent and entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So sometimes we just get in
And
our
you
heads
really,
a little bit and think we want
it's true.
things
And you
that
really can
we
have it
don't.
all.
Yeah.
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 You can have it all. People think you either have to be a mom or you have to be a this or you have to be a that. You can be everything all at once. You've just got to prioritize your time and schedule, and I mean it can all work. And sometimes the worlds collide like right now. But hey,
Mhm.
that's life. But
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. All right. Well, do you have any freebies or any programs coming up or anything that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. So I have two or actually three freebies on my website. One is for moms specifically, and then the other is just for women mostly, but men can use it as well to feel renewed and refreshed. And those are both free on my website, stephaniecaley.com. Um, and I do have a masterclass coming up at the end of the month on the 30th that everyone can sign up for. If you want, I can share that link with you, and you can we just post it below in the comments maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll do that. And that is really just about prioritizing yourself. So it goes great with what we're talking about here. I have 4 amazing women who come on and kind of give us all their insight into how to prioritize yourself and make everything happen.
Cool. And how long is that? Is that a program or how long is that? Is it a few
So
weeks or?
yeah, that is a 4-part series. So it launches on the 30th. So they'll get those 4 videos that I've done, interviews with the other ladies. And then it'll also add you to my weekly newsletters if you'd like to do that as well. So it'll keep you kind of
Oh,
informed of things upcoming. Yeah.
okay. Awesome. All right. And then, yeah, so if you guys have if you need anything else from us, I am just doing nutrition, launching some nutrition stuff right now. So that's what I have going on. I have a free 3-part series on nutrition if anybody wants that I did last week, but I populated them into emails. So I can just send you out the 3 emails for those if you want. And then on the first, I have an intensive, a 20-week gut repair and lifestyle, holistic nutrition lifestyle intensive program starting. So that's what I have going on. So if you guys want to get a hold of us at all, be sure you follow Stefanie, and then you'll be linked up to her. And if you need anything from us, let us know, and we will help you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stefanie.
Thank you guys, and thank you for being patient with my technical difficulties.
No, we've got it figured out now. Next time will be a breeze. We'll do this again.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a wonderful day, you guys.
Bye, guys. Thank
See
you
you
for
later.
having me.
Bye. You're welcome. Thanks for coming.